Hello, good human. I'm Dr. Marie Murphy, and I'm a non-judgmental infidelity coach. If you are cheating on your partner or having an affair or engaging in anything you think counts as infidelity, I can help you deal with your feelings, clarify what you want, and make decisions about what you're going to do. No shame, no blame, no judgments. To learn about how you can have me as your coach, go to my website, mariemurphyphd.com. All right, in the last video, which came out last week, we talked about coming up with an answer to the question of how long you want to wait for your affair partner to leave their marriage if you are the other person in your infidelity situation. Now, once people decide on their answer to that question, they often ask me, should I tell my affair partner what I've decided? Or can I give them a timeline based on my decision about how long I'm going to wait for them? Or sometimes people don't ask me those questions. They just go directly to their affair partner and say something to the effect of, well, I've decided I'm only going to wait 3 more months for you to leave your marriage, so you better leave your marriage by then. The first thing I want to stress today is your timeline is for you. Your decision about how long you're going to wait for your affair partner to leave their marriage is about you taking responsibility for what you have the power to control. And that is how long you stick around in the relationship. It's not about trying to control things that you don't have the responsibility or the power to control, such as if or when your affair partner leaves their marriage. So with that in mind, there might be good reasons for you to tell your affair partner that you've made a decision to stick it out in the relationship for so much longer and only so much longer to see if they're going to leave their marriage. You might want to let them know that if certain changes haven't been made by a certain point in time, you're going to step away from your relationship with them. This might constitute the kind of open and honest communication that you want to have with your affair partner. This might be the kind of information that you consider it important to share with them, right? But this depends to a great extent on the nature of your relationship. And no matter the nature of your relationship, it's really important to keep this announcement, if you make it, stated as a boundary. Now, I know there are a lot of definitions of boundaries out there and a lot of misunderstandings of boundaries out there. So let me be really clear about what I mean when I talk about a boundary. When we set a boundary, we are talking about what we are going to do to take care of ourselves in the event of a possible occurrence. For instance, a boundary could be, if you don't leave your marriage by the end of the year, I will no longer participate in my relationship with you. I will no longer participate in this affair. Your affair partner not leaving their marriage by the end of the year is the possible occurrence. You not participating in the relationship for any longer is your response to their behavior. It is what you will do to take care of yourself if the possible occurrence does indeed occur. Now, sometimes people think that sounds like an ultimatum, but I don't think this comes anywhere near to being an ultimatum, and here is why. In consenting relationships, parties are free to go at any time. In a consenting relationship, one or both members of a couple can say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be involved with you anymore, right? Sometimes we forget that this is how relationships work. But this is how relationships work, and thank God for that, right? Now, if you are threatening to leave someone with the intent to manipulate or coerce them, then we're getting into different territory. But deciding that you don't want to participate in a relationship for much longer and letting your partner know that you may change your behavior if they don't change their marital situation is not an ultimatum. It's an announcement of a decision. On the other hand, if you were to say, you have to leave your marriage by the end of the year or else I'm going to tell your spouse about our affair, then we are getting into the realm of ultimatums. You're not just telling your partner, how you will change your behavior. You're telling them what they have to do, and you're threatening to do something that could have an adverse effect on them if they don't do it. Now, here's where things start to get a little funny. Sometimes people communicate their timeline to their affair partner in a manner that blurs the line between a boundary and an ultimatum. Sometimes people say things like, you have to leave your marriage by the end of the year or else I'm going to be devastated. I don't think that quite counts as an ultimatum, but it sure as heck isn't a boundary. When you're telling someone what they have to do in order for you to be okay, you are not stating a boundary. People often get mixed up about this. People often think that telling their affair partner what they can and can't do, or what they have to do or have to not do, is in fact stating a boundary, but it isn't. You can't do this because it will make me really sad is not a boundary. You have to do this or else I will be miserable is not a boundary. A boundary is you deciding how you are going to respond to someone else's behavior. So with that in mind, let's return to the question of whether or not you have to tell your affair partner about your timeline for remaining involved with them. If you've set a limit on how much longer you're willing to be involved with your affair partner, do you have to tell them? My answer is no, you don't have to tell them because you don't have to do anything. But sometimes it is useful and appropriate to communicate boundaries, although it's never incumbent upon us to do so. And at times it may not be particularly helpful. You always have the right to extricate yourself from situations you don't want to be a part of. No explanation required. Let's say someone starts hitting you and yelling at you and spitting at you. No matter who that person is to you, you may want to get away from this behavior as quickly as you can. You don't have to say, hey, I have this boundary where I walk away when people spit at me. You can just show them through your actions that you aren't going to tolerate their behavior. However, in less extreme situations, especially when we're in a relationship with someone who we care about, we might prefer to inform our partner of our boundaries. If we know we dislike someone's behavior and we know we either will not tolerate it for any longer or will not tolerate it for much longer, we might want to communicate that to our partner. Let's take a non-infidelity related example for a moment. Let's say you have a partner who has a habit of getting really drunk and being really mean to you when they're drunk. Maybe you feel great about the way they treat you when they're sober, but when they've been drinking, it's a whole different story. And maybe this doesn't happen so often that you know you want to exit the relationship immediately, but let's say it happens enough that it really bothers you. If that's the nature of your relationship, you might want to decide what your boundaries are and then talk to your partner about what's going on. You might say to them, hey, I really don't like it when you get drunk and you're mean to me. And if you get drunk and be mean to me again, I'm going to remove myself from that situation immediately. I'm going to walk away from you, or I'm going to go into our bedroom and lock you out of the bedroom, or I'm going to leave you at the bar, whatever it is. And if it keeps happening, I'm going to remove myself from our relationship entirely. Maybe those are your boundaries, and maybe you really want to communicate those boundaries to your partner. After all, we are all highly imperfect humans, and you might want to let the highly imperfect human who you are involved with know that their behavior is bothering you before you just walk the hell away from them. Unless, of course, you feel like you're in danger or you just want to walk the hell away from them. If either of those things are the case, by all means, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. But assuming you're not in imminent danger, once you have communicated your boundaries to your partner, they have been informed of where you stand and what they can expect from you if they behave in a certain way. And giving that information to them might be what you consider to be a component of a fair, loving, respectful relationship. And it might be the case that learning where you stand on the matter inspires your partner to change their behavior. notice that in doing what I've just described, you're taking responsibility for deciding what you are going to do. You're not telling your person what they have to do. You're not saying to your person, hey, you have to stop drinking, or hey, you have to stop being mean to me when you drink, or hey, you can only have a certain amount of alcohol, or whatever. You're telling them where you stand in relation to their behavior and what you're going to do in response. You're not telling them what they have to do. And upon hearing what you have to say, they may decide that they want to change. And if they do, that can be terrific. But if they don't change, you're okay anyway, because you know what you need to do to take care of yourself and you're willing to do it. And it's a similar thing with telling your affair partner about your timeline. If you care about them and you want to be honest with them about matters that are directly relevant to your relationship, you might want to sit them down and say, hey, I've been thinking that I'm only willing to do this affair thing for so much longer. If I don't see X changes by X date, I'm going to be done with this. It's going to be time for me to go. Depending on the nature of your relationship with your affair partner, having this kind of a conversation could be a great thing to do. But on the other hand, if you are not in the habit of sharing this kind of information with your affair partner, you might want to keep the timeline to yourself. You can just adhere to your timeline and see what your person does. If they leave their marriage within your unspoken timeline, great. And if they don't, you can extricate yourself from your relationship with them. It's your prerogative to do that at any point. Now, what happens if you tell your affair partner that you're only willing to remain engaged in your relationship as an affair for a limited amount of time, and they accuse you of giving them an ultimatum? This can and does happen. If this happens to you, you may first want to make sure that you didn't accidentally communicate your timeline to your affair partner as if you were giving them an ultimatum. Sometimes our words come out a little funny, even when we're trying to be really clear about what our message is. Happens to me all the time. Welcome to being a human. So you may want to restate your message if you think there's any chance that it could have come out differently than you'd intended on the first try. If you stated your intention to your affair partner in a way that you felt great about and they still responded badly, you don't have to take that on. For instance, you don't have to convince them that you have a right to set boundaries. You don't have to convince them that it's your prerogative to leave the relationship whenever you want to. If they expect you to stay involved with them no matter what they do in their marriage, no matter what they do in regards to their marriage, you can let that be your problem. You can let that be their problem. And if they try to make it your problem, you might want to consider leaving the affair relationship even sooner, or maybe even immediately. Maybe you just don't want to be involved with someone who tries to convince you that you should stay with them indefinitely, no matter their marital status. Now, if you have talked to your affair partner about your timeline and you believe you have conveyed your message as clearly as you can, I encourage you to then drop the subject. If you have told your affair partner that you're only going to stick around for another 6 weeks or 3 months or 6 months or 18 months or 18 days or whatever it is for you, and that if they haven't left their marriage by then, you're going to walk away from the relationship, you can let that be the end of the discussion. You have let your affair partner know where you stand. Now you can let them do whatever they're going to do or not do while you stick to your timeline. If you have decided to wait for a certain amount of time, make the best of waiting for that amount of time. Nagging your affair partner to leave their marriage for the duration of your chosen waiting period may simply make both of you miserable. Alternatively, if your affair partner wants to complain about your timeline or negotiate with you about your timeline, you don't have to entertain any of that unless you want to. And you very well might not want to. You can simply stick with what you have decided you're going to do, and then let your affair partner do whatever they're going to do, and then you can respond accordingly. Now, it's one thing to say all of this stuff, but sometimes it's a little harder to do this when it's actually happening in your life. So if you would like my help navigating your infidelity situation, I offer radically compassionate, non-judgmental coaching on all matters related to infidelity situations. And there are 2 ways we can work together. You can enroll in my online course, You're Not the Only One, which contains teachings and assignments that go beyond what I offer on this YouTube channel or on my podcast, which is called Your Secret is Safe with Me. When you enroll in You're Not the Only One, which is my course, you have 24/7 access to all of the course materials, which means you can work through the teachings and assignments on your own time and at your own pace. Or we can work together one-on-one via Zoom. If you are interested in doing that, the first step is to schedule an introductory coaching session with me. You can do that, and you can also enroll in my course through my website, mariemurphyphd.com. Let's get together and help you resolve your infidelity situation in a way that you feel great about. The rest of your life beyond the drama and difficulties of your infidelity situation is waiting for you. So let's get started. Let's find you some relief and a clear path forward. All right, you good human, you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.